If you know and understand what the First Amendment is all about and what freedom is all about, we can take a crowd like this and what your personal religious beliefs are not relevant. They're relevant to you and to your family and your children and all, and that's very important in what you do in your community. But in a free society, it's really not relevant. What we have to do is agree that we have freedom of choice in social behavior. That's what we need. Of course, there are a certain group in Congress that's a little bit better on protecting those values than others, but unfortunately, they're the same ones who think you don't have a right to spend your own money. Now, our conclusion is, and the freedom message is, in a free society, you have the right to run your own life, you have the right to earn as much money as you want, and you have the right to spend it any way you want. But along with this, if you practice bad behavior and it hurts yourself, you can't come crawling to the government to go to your neighbor and bail you out. If you don't take care of yourself and take care of your retirement and your medical needs, you can't go to your neighbor and send the government there to bail you out. Freedom really works, and it is popular. But unfortunately, what we're facing is that we have become a nation that has lost confidence. And I think what we're seeing here, occurring here in the last year or so, is our confidence is coming back. Confidence that freedom does work and that we don't have to depend on the government from cradle to grave. It's obvious the foreign policy is a failure. It's obvious that the Federal Reserve System is a failure. It's obvious that we shouldn't even have the IRS and the tax system we have. And if you look at the entitlement system, that's a total failure. There's only debt there. The elderly now, who have paid into the system, are starting to receive. They have an inflation rate of 10 or 12%, and they get increases in their benefits, maybe 2%. So they're losing. No wonder they feel like there's a recession going on. So and salaries under these conditions never keep up. So people are in a recession. And this country is, and it's very, very serious because not so much because we will be living beneath our means, but ultimately it means that our freedoms will be threatened. And I think that is what's happening today. When a country lives beyond its means, it has to live beneath its means. There is a bit of payback. But if we did the right things, if we restored freedom, restored sound money, and went back to work, believe me, it wouldn't take long. We would be back on our feet in no time. But the attitude that we have perpetual bailouts, as they propose this week, you know, we're going to make ourselves, the government's going to make us safer by passing FISA so they can spy on us eternally. And then they go and pass $300 billion, which is just a partial payment, and trying to bail out the housing market. That won't work. They don't have the money. Writing checks and sending checks out to people, say spend money and stimulate the economy, that won't work either. What will work, though, is just looking to our guidelines, looking to the rule of law, and get individuals, men and women of character up here that will stand on principle and vote only for the Constitution. One of the disturbing things that occurred during the campaign, and this did happen, you know, on occasion in the debates. There was one particular debate out in Iowa held by the taxpayers and also a Christian group. And I have rather strong identification with both, but I was excluded. And yeah, we did have a rally next door that was bigger than their rally, so we did all right. But I have come to the conclusion that there were some evangelicals that would not endorse the foreign policy of non-intervention. It was very disturbing to me to confront in an intellectual and a political way to take the position that it is my understanding of Christianity and what Jesus taught that we were never to go in the name of Jesus and start wars. Now, because there was a rather strong element, in spite of the fact in my own district that people get to know me, I reach out because of the right to life position, the homeschooling position, and because homeschoolers know about the Constitution, I do quite well. But nationally speaking, this became a bit of a problem. So I was very, very grateful when Chuck Baldwin went to work, because he had the credentials where he could go out and talk to evangelicals and explain the constitutional pro-American, pro-liberty position that we don't have to endorse preemptive war. Freedom, about 100 years ago or so, was divided into pieces. It was divided into personal liberty and economic liberty. Our job as freedom fighters now is to bring that concept back together. Freedom isn't anything more than individual. We get our individual freedom and our right to life from our Creator, so it's the protection of liberty that we must have. Now, why so many people shun from this, liberals will shun from it because they're afraid that you might spend your money the wrong way and you might not take care of yourself. But in a free society, there should be a lot of responsibility. But on the other side now, the conservatives don't want you to spend your money because they're afraid you might spend it on gambling or something else. But sometimes people do. Sometimes when they have the freedom, some will do bizarre things in the name of religion. You might not like it, but there's an element of tolerance that we might have. Some people may spend their money in a wasteful manner. But the one thing that we should not resort to, and what we have resorted to for the last 35 years, is go off on a wild tangent that we are going to tell the people what they can put in their mouths and what they can smoke and what they can drink, and it's none of the government's business. Yeah! We're at a point now where if you want to drink raw milk, you have to get permission from the government. I would think that you ought to have the right to drink raw milk if you want to. And we are also at the point now when the states are fighting the unconstitutional regulation of the use of drugs in places in California and others, where they literally are saying in a very, very reserved manner, say that somebody who is sick, you can use medicinal marijuana. So what does our federal government comes in? Overrules the state, which they should never do, take away and put people who are that are sick, dying with cancer, and putting them in prison for smoking marijuana, even though the law permits them. We don't need any of that. But it also means that there are a lot of risks out there, and you have to take it into consideration. But problems that should be solved should be done by individuals, by family, and local influences, our churches, and our community. Once you get the nanny state, somebody up here regulating and dictating the whole economy and our personal lives, we get into the mess that we have now. The wonderful thing that's happening now is there is an opportunity now like never before. The problems are out there. The bankruptcy is coming, the dollar is going down, inflation is coming back, the foreign policy is a failure, and they still haven't figured it out that we don't and should not threaten or even approach the idea of bombing Iran. That's insane. Yeah! So this is a great message, and we will continue with it, as obviously you are doing. I want to compliment all those, the committee, there are 4 or 5 or 6, and so many others who helped to bring this rally together, and they deserve a lot of credit for it. And I do want to mention a little bit of how we will continue our fight for liberty. And I just want to ask, have any of you heard about the new organization, Campaign for Liberty?